Hey, everybody. I want to talk about something that's being brought to my attention quite a bit. I've had a few people discuss this with me and bring up this particular issue of ghosting and when people go ghost on you and they just disappear. There's a lot. I just want to provide this insight. Okay, every situation is different. I can't talk on every single situation, but a lot of times this is what is going on. Okay, because there's always that person who wants to bring up the rare instances that it's something else. I don't really deal in the rare instances. I don't like to make the exception the rule. Okay, there are exceptions to situations, but I don't focus on the exceptions. I focus on the rules because most likely this is what's going on. What happens is, when we meet people and we get too invested, we have to understand the space that we're coming from when we meet someone. If we're coming from a space of desperation or emotional, just going through a lot emotionally, not being emotionally stable and together, we're in need, we really want this person. It could be an idea of them that we have in our mind, some fantasy, whatever it is. But we're coming from that place, we are over investing in the situation, because what happens is a lot of times when people go ghost, if the person was to look at the situation before they even went ghost, because they're so shocked by the person going ghost. But if they were looking at the situation, they would see all along that this person was never invested in them in that way. Okay, they will see how they had to do everything. When that's going on, there's a reason for that. Okay, so people get confused with this ghosting act because the person will come in and out of their lives and they really don't understand it because they feel like the person must feel something for them, and the person may even tell them that they do. But what they're not realizing is when you're coming from a messed up place, your attraction point, your vibration is in a space where you're needy emotionally, you're in need of love, you're going through something. You have to understand you're only attracting other people who are also in some type of messed up emotional space. So this person can be in a messed up emotional space themselves, okay? And so then this person comes in trying to love them and give them all of this, just giving them everything, investing in them, making them feel better in their situation because they're going through something themselves, right? And then that can confuse the person, okay? Because initially that person wasn't interested in you, or they weren't attracted to you, they weren't really interested in you, there was nothing, they didn't really feel anything, there was nothing there. But all of your advances, all of your investment, all of your interest, they start feeling like there should be something there, like this person is doing this for me, it's only right, I should like this person, right? So then sometimes from the place that they're at, they start trying to like the person, okay? So this is where it seems like they're leading you on or they're misleading you, when really they're just, because of where they are, they could have come out of a bad relationship or just went through something, and then they're like, I should like a person that is doing this. But see, the problem is with the whole ghosting thing is usually that relationship is not about you. Okay, so that person was never interested in you. It was never about you. It was about whatever you were giving them, whether you were boosting their ego, like whether they were feeling low at a point in their life where they weren't really feeling good about themselves, or like they had a lot to offer, and then here you come worshiping the ground they walk on, so it boosts their ego and they feel good. So they're getting some good feelings from you, but it's not about you. See, what they really want is those good feelings from someone that they really want. They want it to match. They want it to be someone giving all of this, but also it be coming from the person that they really want. So this is where they can get confused, and they'll go after a person that they really want, where they actually want this person, not just what this person is doing for them. Okay, so this is where a lot of the confusion comes in at, because a lot of people, when they get ghosted, they're really upset at the person. They feel like the person led them on. But I'm going to tell you my motto in life: where responsibility goes, power flows. So if you want to remain in your power, you have to take responsibility. Okay, there's nobody in life that holds a lot of power that doesn't also hold a lot of responsibility. Okay, so you have to look at, when you're getting involved with someone, first of all, if you're a female, if the man is not interested in showing that interest, he's not showing that interest, that's something to look at. Okay, you don't want to get into how you feel to the point where you're ignoring, and you will start to see things in a skewed way. Okay, because sometimes the person that ghosted, they were really just letting you do everything you were doing, and then you assume because they're letting you do it that they're in it with you, when they were never in it with you. You were in it by yourself from the beginning, and you would know that if you were paying attention and if you weren't busy over investing. And remember, the person who over invests is the one who feels the most loss. Okay, so it's easy for a person to walk away and not talk to someone and just disappear when they were never invested in that person to begin with. So you have to understand, they don't feel a loss because they weren't invested. They weren't putting all their energy and effort and emotion into that. They were simply taking in what was being given to them. Okay, and then maybe they were trying to actually like you, and not just what you were giving them. But then you got to admit, those things felt good. It feels good to get treated that way. And so they might have kept indulging in that. But you have to understand, they were having a relationship with what you were doing, not with you. That's the difference. So it's easy to walk away from you. It's harder to walk away from the things they were getting from you. But then once they get to a point where they can let go of everything they were getting from you, letting go of you is not hard, because their investment, it was never about you to begin with. And this is the reason that you had to do all of that to get their attention in the first place. Because usually the person that ghosts you is someone that you had to do a lot to get their attention in the first place. So that's telling you, you never had their attention. You were never really coming up on their radar. So it's a situation where you were kind of doing things by yourself. This is most of the time. Okay, most of the time. There are exceptions to the rule. But you have to understand that, so then when you're feeling upset, like this person did you wrong, you have to see where your own perception was skewed, and that you both were in a space in your life that wasn't the best space. Okay, that is the only thing that made them receptive to you a lot of times, where they needed that, somebody doing that for them to feel better or to get over whatever they were going through. And that is what it was. So that's why it's important to not overinvest and not get into a fantasy when you meet someone and just assume things about how they feel, or take their receiving everything you're giving as some type of sign. They're not leading you on if they're not leading the way. See, these people a lot of times were never leading the way. You were leading the way. You were investing, over investing, and you were guiding the whole thing. You were the only thing keeping it going, really. Or you think about it, that person, they only called when they wanted something. All of that type of stuff. So that's telling you they're not into you, they're into what you're doing. So these are all things you need to be looking at. And a lot of times, I'm going to be honest with you about this. A lot of times the person who ghosts, the thing was, they knew from the beginning that they really weren't interested. Now, this is the part that's on them, because really they shouldn't have proceeded in any way. They shouldn't have allowed you to guide the situation when they knew they weren't really interested in you. They may have known, I wasn't really attracted to him or her. They weren't feeling it from the beginning. But they didn't say that. And this is where you have to understand, just like you have to be coming from a certain place in order to do all of that, they were coming from a certain place in order to take it. So Yes, they should have said, no, I don't want this. But you have to understand, sometimes when you're down, okay, you can get in a mindset where you don't want this person, but what they're offering you need right now. You need that ego boost. So what happens is when they get confused and they go through something later, they disappear and they're not thinking about the person, okay, because it wasn't about them. And they don't need what that person is offering because they got boosted up. They got what they needed. They're feeling better. So then they ghost. And then life happens again. And then it's like they have that person that they use as the boost. So then you go back to the person that's going to give you what you need again. And then they ghost again, because you'll notice that people who ghost, if you take them back and you keep going on with them, they're going to ghost again. Why? Because it's still not about you. So my recommendation with situations like that is always to just let that go. Because this is the thing, when you really care about someone, you can't ghost them. Why? Because you'll actually worry about them. You may not, even if you were upset with them and you don't want to be in a relationship with them, you worry about a person you care about. So ghosting them leaves it to where you could die and they wouldn't know. Something could happen to you and they wouldn't know. So, it's hard to ghost someone that you truly have feelings for, just because you can't help it, because you'll worry about them. You'll care what's going on with them. So that person who's in that situation getting ghosted, then the person will go back to someone they actually want that person for who they are. They actually want that person. Yeah, they wish the person would do maybe some of the things that you were doing, but they don't really want it from you. They want it from that person. So you can take responsibility and take your power back and not allow people like that to have so much power over your life, by taking responsibility for the things you can do and the control that you have over the situation. Because there's someone that you won't have to do all of that. You won't have to do all of that because they'll just like you. Just like that other person. Because then I noticed this too. A lot of people with the person that they got ghosted by, they look at this person be with someone else and they're like, this person doesn't do half of what I was doing. Well, yeah, they don't have to, because they actually want that person. They're liking that person for different things. They like that person because of their personality, the way they look, the way they are, the way they carry themselves. It's like they like that person's swag. They like that person. So when they like that person doesn't have to work extra hard. They don't have to do all that. The person who has to do that is the one they don't really want. Okay? So that's something to think about when it comes to the whole ghosting thing. They're not willing. So what's going to happen is too, if they come back, if you require something from them, that can make them leave. I've talked to some people who have done ghosting, and it's a situation where they're receiving, right? That's what they're there for whatever this person is giving them. Well, then if that person cuts that off, or it tries to become like a real relationship where now this person wants their feelings considered. Now this person then they cut it off, because that's the whole thing they're attached to. Is that boost they can get, all of that they can come and just take in without having to give anything. It's easy. It's easy, and people take advantage of that. But you have to understand that just as you can be broken and in a certain place, other people can too. And when you're broken, sometimes that stuff coming in, you need it at the time. You want it at the time. So you take it. But it's not about the person. And then the person themselves, the ghoster can even get confused. Like, okay, is it about this person? But then that's where you feel like they're leading you on. But it's like, really, they get confused about, do I even like this person? They can't really tell because they're so caught up into what they're taking in from the situation. But then when they settle down or they get in a better space, and they're not in need of that, just like you were in need chasing them, they were in need. But then when they're not in need anymore, they can feel that they don't really like the person. So then they go away again. Okay? So that's a karmic cycle, a pattern that you can have going in your life. You can do a soul healing session to look at things like karmic patterns and things like that. The link for all of that is in the description box below. Okay? Where you can do karmic pattern healing with me. Yeah, so that's just some more insight, okay? Take what you can from it, benefit yourself with it, empower yourself with it, okay? And I wish you all absolutely the best in life, love, health, and every area of life, okay? And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.